I think that's like another thing that has helped me a lot is because I'm not only focused on breaststroke when I train. I'm not only focused on freestyle. Like I can just think about so many other things and know that I'm getting better at it, even if it's not specifically breaststroke.
Welcome to Social Kick. We got the full crew: Dr. John Mullen, Luke Paddington, and joining us fresh off his big time swim in the fall, a new 49 guy. Only one of them to be, or only one of four to be able to do it. I can't even imagine what it's like. Julian Smith, welcome. I'm excited to talk to you, man.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Well, matching black hoodies today. John, Luke, I don't know what you guys are doing without the matching.
Rep Social Kick. Come on now.
You didn't get the memo. Julian got the memo. Julian, we ask all of our guests on Instagram at Social Kick Swim and YouTube beforehand what questions they have for you. Ask all our followers for that. And so I wanted to ask, this one's from Kieran McWilliams. Sounds like somebody came and met you at Olympic trials. He says, remember that one kid you met at the swim shot at the Olympic trials in the convention center?
Yeah, I do. I actually do. I remember that. That was funny because that was my first trials, and I think I was surprised about how many swimming fans were there. And like swimming is a sport. If you know swimming, and like to see everyone was very passionate about it was like really cool. So I do remember that.
That's good. Yeah. That scene was crazy. I have to admit that my expectations were much lower for what that whole experience was going to be like. And then once we got there and were able to experience it, I was like, man, way to go swimming, way to go USA swimming, way to go, like, swim fans and families and everybody for showing up. Cause that area was like pretty packed. For a lot of the week, and that whole street that they shut down in Indy, like anybody outside of the US who's listening to this, like the USA Olympic trials did it up right this last year. It was quite the show. I don't know how they did profitability wise, but it was good.
It was really cool for me.
But beyond that too, when you can spot a swimmer, so we know how to spot a swimmer. Like you see a regular person, like that person looks like a swimmer, you can tell. And then you look for clues, right? Like TYR or something, or you see, okay, that's a swimmer. That's once in like a month, you might see a swimmer on the streets. To have everybody around you be swimmers in the entire city, it's like, what's going on? Why is everybody a swimmer related? It was surreal. So I felt really good.
Yeah, that's true. And actually, what I notice is when you're on like I don't know, if I'm on like a subway train or something, or if you're walking around town, you see somebody with a Speedo backpack, and you're like, hang on, I'm not at a pool. I'm not anywhere, it's like on campus. But you can see it from far away. I don't need like the bag tag slapping the backpack or anything, but like even just like somebody carrying a Speedo backpack, it's like, oh, okay, I see you,
Yeah.
See, that's how it is now. Kids have 1 million bag tags, right? That's how it is now. They have like thousands of those on their bags.
Yeah. And it's like you see, like I feel like for any other sport, like basketball or anything, they see another basketball person, it's like, oh, you keep going. But like a swimmer, it's like, all right, like there's something like there's something similar about us each. So it's like, all right, we can relate on that. So it's really cool.
What's the sport that you get the most besides swimming? So I got volleyball the other day. Somebody stares at you and they're like, you do something. Yes.
Yeah, it's for me it's track or basketball every time. Every time it's like, but mostly track, I would say, just because like I have long legs and like long arms and stuff, but it's never swimming. And they're like, oh really? And then they're like, okay. Like you must be dedicated to it for you to be swimming. And then,
Wait, but you wouldn't have to be dedicated to it if you were running track?
I don't know. They're just like, wow, like you're a swimmer. I'm like, yes, I am a swimmer. So they're a little taken aback by that, but I've been used to it.
Yeah, sure. I don't know why nobody guesses swimming. John, Luke, what have you guys gotten before?
Luke's never been called an athlete in any sport. He's got curling? What do you have?
Dude, what sport do you need a giant head? Luke's got one of the biggest heads in America.
That's swimming. It's to get through the water, dude. No, we have broad shoulders. So they're always like, what's these broad shoulders about? It has to be swimming. So that's what it's about.
That's true.
I get soccer every now and again way back when, but I don't think it's happening much anymore. But you still have the height on your side, so you get some comps.
That's true. I do have the height on my side, and then I've talked here before about how I do like weird exercises in the gym because I still do like some swimming specific movements in the gym, and like everybody's doing those. Where if you walk into the gym at Florida where you're working out, like you guys are doing some swimming specific strength training, and like I don't know, I still like doing those. So there's some things that I still like doing, but no, they're not getting me ready for spring break 25. I'm trying to hit that Masters workout hard. So
yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Goals. That's right. Well, yeah, we got a lot of different things we can get into. Of course, we've had a lot of guests asking us about breaststroke technique and tips and underwaters and drills and all that stuff, and we'll get into some of it. But first, just talk us through what's going on this year. You've been on this career progression, pretty steady, but I feel like I relate to it some because I had like my sophomore junior year. I didn't make a big jump there, but then I took another big leap my senior year. And you're here in this like you just took another big jump across all events, but most notably that 100 breaststroke you threw down in November. That's big, and I know for me that there were some big changes that happened. I started working with a new coach. There was a new culture, and slightly, but those slight changes can really make a big difference. So just like, what's going on, man? You've been on fire, and what's going on with this season?
Well, one, thank you. Thank you for the kind words. But two, I don't know. I think a lot of it, coming to the University of Florida, I feel like I've had a lot of progression each year, and each year it's gotten better for me. And at the same time, I've done a lot of different things each year, whether it be moving through different groups, different stroke groups, different stroke coaches. I just kind of fallen into the senior year. It's like, you just start to appreciate everything, and you're able to just swim and like enjoy the moments with the team and everything more so. And I think that's been a really big thing for me. It's like I've done everything I could have ever imagined, and like I never would have thought I would have made it this far. And I think this year it's just been like, let's see how far I can go and enjoy it with these guys that we have on this team and the coaches, and specifically loving the process. I think the process has really shown, because coming in freshman year is always like, can I just get a result? Can I get this? Can I get that? And then now it's like my senior year, and I'm like, all right, like I really enjoy the process of not just in swimming, but just in even things outside of life. It's just like the process of getting to where I want to go has been really cool to see. So that's been a big change for me.
What do you mean by the process? Is everything from the training to the balance of work, of school and swimming and your friends? What's the process? Dive into that.
The process for me is more so just, balancing swimming and then my other goals outside of swimming, and also my social life, the team. And I feel like swimming is a sport where you have to have a balance or else it can really suck you in. And for me, it's super important to have that balance and understand that each day I can gain something out of it, whether it be forming a new relationship with my teammate, forming a new relationship with my coaches. And then obviously the days of I can get better at this, I can get better off this turn, I can get better at this stroke, has been really cool to see. And it's like, I know at the end of the season, it will all pay off when it's time to show, So that's been really something I've learned a lot from UF and just Coach Nesty and all the coaches here. It's like, you have to work hard, but at the same time, you have to work hard at the right things. And it shows in consistency. So.
And like B was saying, you're having a great year, already breaking 50, going to best time. Just so people have an idea, what was your 100 breasts before you got to Florida?
Before I got to Florida, that's funny. It was probably like 55.
55. So you've gone from a 55 to a 49, and still some time to keep chunking away at that. It really is amazing. And I always am amazed by people that go to a great swimming school like Florida, because obviously you were a good swimmer beforehand, and then you just keep chipping away and getting so much faster.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny because like in my senior year, like I've had like conversation with like my coaches and stuff, and it's like they would have never thought this. I would have never thought this throughout my whole recruiting and everything, because I was just a guy begging for opportunity because I felt like there was something that I could prove to myself and like a challenge that I wanted. And they gave me the opportunity and I just ran with it, and I'm forever grateful for that. So I think it's just when I have opportunity, I love to just make the most of it. And that's been a really good lesson that I've learned here.
I think it's a strange way for me to put this, but forgive me. Do you identify as a breaststroker or a freestyler?
That's a good question. I think I identify more as a breaststroker than a freestyler. But if you were to ask my coaches or people around me, they'll say I identify as an IMer. Because if we base my training off, it's like I train every stroke almost. So, and I think this year it's really the only year that I've trained specifically only freestyle and breaststroke. So that's another big difference in this year, because in the past few years I would rotate between every single group of stroke, but this year it's specifically freestyle and breaststroke.
And yet you still go a PB in the 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny how that works? You know, like you can change some things and you don't necessarily intend for that to be the way it works. Like, you know, I ended up having my best event was the 50 butterfly, but I barely trained butterfly ever.
Yeah. And I think that's happened pretty commonly, more so than people think. And it's just been like, I haven't been training the craziest amount of breaststroke this year. But I think when I do train it, it's very specific and race relative. So that's been a benefit.
I remember the common set we did as freestylers. We were sprinting mid-D with the 30-1s and 140 lactate, right? And the breaststrokers would get, when we did that, the breaststrokers would do 30-50s dive on something. And I was like, I wish I wanted to do that. I want to do that kind of training. Do you enjoy the breaststroke training sets and stuff more than the freestyle or the strokes you've done? Is the breaststroke sets, do you enjoy it more, or is it more like,
Honestly, no, I don't enjoy more. I enjoy like the freestyle, like threshold sets more than if I were to do a breaststroke threshold set. Yeah. When it comes to like quality and doing stroke work, I do enjoy doing breaststroke, but I think the one thing about me is like when I rotate between groups, it's pretty similar, like consistent. Like you'll see people, a lot of breaststrokers are very specific breaststroke, and they can't really go into another group and say mid-D freestyle and do as well. And I think for me, it's like I can go between those groups and still get something out of it in each of these sets. So that's something unique, and I learned that it was unique once I got here. So.
Well, we did have one audience question from Nicholas 210710 about your training split. So like how many days are you in what groups, and maybe how has it changed like over your years at Florida as well?
Yeah, so this year I've been more sprint group more than any other year that I've been at UF. But before it was mostly a hybrid in between sprint and mid. I would do sprint for like the power morning practices, but everywhere else I would do mid pretty much. But now I'm mostly all sprint except for on the IM days. I go in the 2 IM group. So
what about in the gym? Like, has that made any shift too? Are you lifting with the sprinters? Has the program changed at all?
I don't think the program's changed, but I'm definitely lifting more. I think I'm lifting more weight just because I think being in sprint group has allowed me to lift more weight. And I've seen that's been relative for me. Like I've been able to put on more muscle mass and put on more of the fast twitch stuff than I have in the past. So I've seen the difference in that.
Yeah. Are you heavier now than you were last year?
I would say muscle mass, yes, but I think I've also lost a little bit of fat. So it's about, but I'm definitely a heavier, I think.
Yeah. Do you pay that much attention to race weight? I remember like my fighting weight was just always locked into that same number, which but yeah, I don't know. Does it matter to you?
I think the feel of how I feel matters more than the specific number, because for me, it's like my freshman year, I gained 30 pounds just from high school, like compared to high school. So each year I've been at almost a different weight. Obviously, these last 2 years I've been pretty similar, but it's more so how I feel and how I'm moving through the water has been very consistent for me. Like that outweighs the number that's on the scale for me. So I pay attention to how I feel in the water and getting through.
Yeah, we were watching your 100 breast video, and how you move through the water is very specific, I'd say. Like your low back really doesn't go down at all. Like you're really right and high in the water. So talk us through, how you developed your breaststroke technique, and if you're thinking about anything while you're doing breaststroke.
I think for me, developing my technique, it's always been pretty similar. Like I think my technique has been pretty streamlined throughout my whole swimming. But once I got to UF, I figured out that I needed to be more efficient. And I think even now I'm still trying to be more efficient, but things that I focused on specifically when I'm swimming breaststroke or that my coaches have brought aware to me, is like the movement of my hands to the next stroke, and developing, like getting into that streamline as fast as possible and pulling myself through the water, not pulling myself out of the water. So.
Dude, watching that same race, I also noticed how powerful your underwaters are. I don't want to say underwaters. I don't want to mix it up with typical underwaters. Your breaststroke pullouts are. It's super powerful. Like you see such acceleration. If you were to go for the 50-yard breaststroke world record for one stroke, you think you could go 26? Like could you do a 25-yard with no stroke and then turn and do one stroke to come home?
From a dive?
Yeah, from a dive.
I think I can do it, but I don't think I could be 26. I think
that's what Marshall went, I want to say.
Yeah, I don't know if I could be 26, but I know I could do it. I think that for me, it's more so about how I'm getting through the water than just trying to be strong and powerful.
Okay.
And that's what a lot of people have been telling me, because people will look at my relay exchange and be like, your reaction time wasn't very fast, but you caught a lot of people on your dive. And that's based off of the entry and like I accelerate through. I think the way I enter the water outweighs just having a fast reaction time. So that's just something that like I've realized, because like I always be like, oh, like let me try to get a fast reaction time, but necessarily when I try to do that fast reaction time, I take away from having a powerful exchange. So,
but you're hinting at like being more streamlined, of this being, not slowing down as much as others may slow down underwater. What do you do to keep yourself, more streamlined here, perhaps, or timing that kick different underwater? Are you doing things to make yourself slow down less underwater?
I think just staying in line. Like my body, one thing that I've learned from my teammate Alexis, he's very streamlined in his stroke, and his stroke is his technique is very amazing. So I see that he's kind of made me better in like being more attention to that. Like you need to be intentional with each stroke and how you're getting through it, because any little movement can kind of throw it off. So that's something that I've been aware of more lately.
Well, talking about being tight and streamlined, though, your turn is tight, but you do something that seemed different to me from the couple of times I watched it. When you turn, you cannot tuck your head into your armpit. When you got so tight in there, it was really compressed. Who coached you on that? Who taught you, like, dude, tuck into your armpits, or like bend your head down, like crumple up like tinfoil? Like, talk to me.
I feel like it's something that I've like just been installed with since age group swimming and like my club team back at home, because I feel like I've always had turns have always been a strength of mine, and I think coming to UF, I became better at swimming, the swimming aspect, and I definitely still have been getting better at the swimming aspect. But the turns have always been like a thing of just trying to be efficient. I feel like if you look at my freestyle or any other stroke, it's all about efficiency. And I think that's like a mindset that I've had. It's just not trying to power myself through, but how can I get from this side to the next wall fastest and with conserving the most energy if I could, you know?
So we're all non-breaststrokers here, so we can throw shade at it. So we know the breaststrokers are an odd breed, especially when they all start training together. So who's the worst breaststroker on the Florida team, and what are you guys saying about him and how his technique looks?
I don't know. I don't want to say any of that because
come on, we're non-breaststrokers. Non-breaststrokers know they suck at breaststroke. We know
we suck. We're terrible.
That's not like shocking news. It's like, yeah, don't put me in it. That's good.
Like
let's get it out.
A non-breaststroker that's bad on Florida.
Yeah, like the worst breaststroker you've ever seen. On
Johnny Marshall.
Okay.
Johnny Marshall.
And what does he swim like? Like, what does his breaststroke look like? I'm sure you guys watch it and you're just like, what is he thinking?
Johnny Marshall and Scotty Buff probably have the worst breaststroke on their team.
Ohio boys, stand up. Here we go.
Yeah. So it doesn't even look like anything. I think it's just like something doesn't click for them to where they can do it. So
yeah. Any of those guys get an IM group and you're trying to help them out? Because I think those guys are both pretty good at multiple strokes, right? So it's like, God, if we can just figure out this breaststroke leg, and then you try to give him tips, and you're like, wow, he's getting worse.
Yeah, no, Johnny, he actually swims the 2IM, so he gets in the IM group, and it's funny because like he'll swim the 2IM and he'll be out he'll be out insanely fast time because his backstroke is so fast, and then as soon as he hits the breaststroke, I think he split like almost 36, and it's like. We don't understand why. And like, I think our coaches were like, you know, like you swim the 2 back, like you should be able to hold your breath to do a good pull out. And then you really have to you really don't have to do much swimming. But it just doesn't click for him. So
do you have any of the guys on your team doing dolphin breaststroke during IM sets and like stay up with you? And you're like, you got to be kidding me. Come on, man.
Yeah, no, Scotty is forbidden from breaststroke kick.
Oh, gotcha.
Like that's just like he can't do breaststroke kick. So
wait, but he actually races the 2IM?
No, not Scotty.
Scotty does.
Johnny
does.
Johnny does. Okay, I was like, man, that'd be crazy. No, I've definitely been a converted lifer to the dolphin kick during any breaststroke sets, which I don't know. How do core breaststrokers feel about that? Because I can imagine on an IM set when I'm like a freestyle butterfly backstroker, and then I can fake a breaststroke when I put in a dolphin kick, that core breaststrokers would find that really annoying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't put too much, and I don't put too much thought into it. I feel like I understand, like I understand where they're coming from. Like I would do the same, you know. So.
Well, I don't know. Is that like akin to pulling on the lane rope for somebody who pulls on the lane rope all the time for backstroke?
Yeah, it's like the same thing. Like you're just trying to get by. Like if I struggle at it, it's like, all right.
What's the biggest like faux pas when it comes to that kind of thing? Like leaving early, pulling on the lane rope on backstroke, kicking dolphin on breaststroke. On the Florida team, are there some of those things that when somebody does it, you're like, come on, man?
I would say probably spring warm up. Or just it's just like, why are we doing this? Because then we'll have a set and it's like they kind of pay for it in the end. So that's probably like the one thing that we all talk about on our team.
See, it's interesting. There's a trend, I think. I think Texas and Bowman is kind of starting this trend of like limiting the slow swimming and trying to raise all your slow swimming faster. So I think they're like starting to go really fast in warm up. So I don't know. It's interesting just to see obviously successful programs doing different things. And, it'd be so funny to see guys like warming up at just like a general practice together and everyone doing completely different speeds.
Yeah. It's way different between groups. Like when we see the distance group warm up, it's like, they're going the times that we were going threshold sets. But when sprint group warms up, it's
slow.
Let's just try to move our body, and then get ready to go. So
Do the sprinters accept you as one of their own, or do they like, oh, that's not bad for breaststroker 19-0, or do they like, yeah, that dude's a sprinter?
No, they definitely accept me as one of their own. Honestly, I don't even know if the breaststrokers accept me, because I'm mostly in the sprint group, and when the breaststroke only group does their sets, I'm still not with them, but I'll do like the sprint group.
Yeah, you sound so sad about that.
No, I'm not. I'm not sad about it. I enjoy being in the different groups and everything, so I'm not sad about it, but I can see why they're frustrated with me.
What's your weakness, dude? Is it underwater freestyle kick? Is it backstroke? What's your weakness? You say you're working on.
My weakness is backstroke for sure.
Yeah,
backstroke for sure. Like that's the one thing I've been trying to figure out for the longest, and it just has not clicked. Backstroke is definitely hard for me, and then the up kick on my underwater of like just any stroke, right? Like underwater fly kick or anything. So
yeah, so that's why you're fine with the dolphin breaststroke. You're the pulling on the lane rope during backstroke.
maybe
now we got it.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. I have the strength from there.
Is there an event that you don't get a chance to race ever, but that you think that you'd be really good at if you got that opportunity?
Yes, I think the 100 fly. I think the 100 fly. But I do know that if I were to swim the 100 fly, the 100 fly, like sprint butterfly, is a way different stroke, especially yards. So I think I would have to adapt to that. But I think the 100 fly, I could be pretty decent.
What do you think you got in you?
I don't know. I know that last year at NCs, I took my 2IM out 20.8 in the 50 fly. So, and that was pretty. I think I was breathing every stroke, but I think if I were to train it and get some tips from Josh and Scotty, I think I'd be close. So,
wait, when you go out in 20.8, how were you feeling on that second breaststroke pull out in that 2IM?
I was starting to hurt, but I think that was all part of the strategy because of backstroke's not my strength at all. The thing is, for me, it's like my first 100 is my weakness, Yeah. But I know once I can get to the back 100, I'm fine.
I was a freestyler, 50, 100, 200 free. I trained to hit this time at this meet in the 50 free. I cared about those times. That was my baby. And I think that's why I swam a decent fly, because I'll swim a 1500 fly and I didn't give a shit. Just got up there and race, and I enjoyed it, right? Do you think that as you've got older, you've learned to like let go, especially when it comes to your breaststroke? Because you say you identify as a freestyler. You think that's helped your breaststroke times drop as well?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's like another thing that has helped me a lot is because I'm not only focused on breaststroke when I train. I'm not only focused on freestyle. Like I can just think about so many other things and know that I'm getting better at it, even if it's not specifically breaststroke. Like if I'm swimming a backstroke set, like maybe it's not what I want to do, but I know that I can get something away from it. So that's been very helpful. And then when I do swim like the sprint events, or like I'm on a relay swimming at 50 free, it's like I can just see what I can do. There's not really a thing of like, I have to make sure I hit this stroke count. I have to make sure I hit this to hit this turn. It's just give it your best and see. So that's been helpful.
And do you think what's been helpful too is maybe where you are at in life right now? You're a senior, you're about to graduate. Has that helped free up swimming overall? What's your plan in life regards what's next once you graduate and stuff?
Yeah, I think that's helped me a lot this year too, because it's like I know my own goals outside of swimming, and this is my last year of swimming, and like to be able to walk away from the sport on my own terms is pretty cool, and it's a blessing. And that's like what I want to do. And I think specifically in my senior year, it's like, all right, I worked so hard freshman through junior year, and like now it's like I'm in my final few credits before I graduate, and then we go on to my next chapter. So that's really something that I can sit back and enjoy in this season, and I have been.
Yeah, my senior year, I knew that was going to be my last year as well. I got into physical therapy school, and it all worked out well, had a great last meet. But then Leando's telling us, he's like, God, I don't know why Julian's going to be done. He's improving so much and on this great trajectory. So what do you think when people tell you, like, God, why is this guy hanging it up? He's, potentially going to win NCs and getting better every year.
I think, like, I understand where people are coming from and when they say that. And I think it's like, I'm in such a good spot to where, like, I could have the option to do it or not, but it's something that I've always wanted to do, and my goals after swimming. And I've always kind of known that this is like something that I've been excited for and looking forward to.
He liked what Maya Dorado did. Maya's like, this is gonna be my last race, and I'm just gonna. Remember that girl who came and won gold and said bye bye to the sport? That's Julian Smith, man. Is that feel good to want to do that? Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely does feel good. And like I was saying, like, to be able to just walk away, like, when I want to is very cool, because I've seen a lot of people, it's like, it's kind of gets taken away. And sometimes people take that for granted. So to have the choice and be like, no, this is what I want to do, and I want to go pursue this after, is just a blessing for me.
Now, dental school is going to be demanding, obviously, but is there anything in the back of your head, if you really wreck it this year, where you're like, you know what, I just swim like 3 days a week, 4 days a week for an hour, and just like keep a feel for the water, especially in your events, right?
Yeah, no, I think, like, I'm not gonna totally just say goodbye to swimming. Like, I'm gonna use swimming to keep me in shape, because I feel like we're all in wonderful shape for swimming. But I am excited for, like, the new challenges of dental school and, like, everything that comes with that. And I'm super grateful for swimming. And, like, of course, I'll still be looking in on swimming and keeping an eye on the team and everything. So
I'm going to give you your first lesson in dentistry. So my new dentist finally gets me. Yeah, I'll tell you, he said, because he's a triathlete, so he swims. And he's like, Luke, you have erosion. I'm like, oh my God, yes, that's not grinding my teeth. That's chlorine and the acidity of the pool eroding the enamel. And most swimmers have it, especially, you know how we kind of swim and we keep our lips open a little bit and water comes in just a little bit? The bits of the teeth that are exposed to particularly acidic erodes the enamel. And most dentists are like, stop grinding your teeth. Are you under stress? And like, no, I'm a swimmer. Yeah, swimming doesn't do that. No, 20 hours a week does that.
We'll do that. Yeah, exactly. And I think, like, I learned that at a young age. Like, we would always go to the dentist's office, and the people would be like, oh, like, what is this with your teeth or whatever? And it's like, it's because of swimming. And the good dentists is they know it, and they understand it. And, like, I think that's also something that kind of got me interested in it, because I heard this at a young age. I was like, all right, like, I started brushing my teeth right after practice, and it's something that, like, at age 12, like, why is Julian brushing his teeth right after practice? It's like, I never liked the swimming stain from it. So
Luke, you're losing it. First, you think you're teaching Julian something about dentistry, and two, you imply you're swimming 20 hours a week still. All bogus claims here.
Back then.
I was gonna say that's why his teeth look a whole lot better now, because he doesn't swim hardly
exactly. Exactly. You don't have those issues still, Luke. We know that.
No, I don't. No, we're good.
Yeah.
It would have been brutal. I swam with our group that we all met through the other day, and the pool that they swim in now is just like awful with how bad. Like, I felt, I made a comment to our friend Tim that after the swim, I said, I feel like I need to brush my teeth 3 times right now. I don't know what it was in the pool. That's like, it was cloudy and chalky, and I don't know, not good. But I have had that experience, Luke, that you're talking about when I used to went to this dentist when I was swimming with Team Elite. We had this like pro bono dentist, like kind of a sponsor sort of thing, support for the team, which is cool. And so that particular dentist got to work on all the swimmers, and so they had made the same comment to us that like, oh, swimmer teeth, like, you've got some erosion because but they had that sample size of, I'm validating you. You see me pumping you up, John's tearing you down and I'm pumping you up. But also just because like they had seen all swimmers, so they knew. Yeah.
I was also going to say, pool people who look after pools, you have your test kit and you have an app, but listen to the freaking swimmers as well. I can jump in a pool and right away I can tell you the quality of the water based on what it tastes like. You can say like, oh, no, it's off. The pH is off. Or something is off. You can tell. Listen to us. You know?
Yeah.
Luke, the pool drinker. That's all we need.
No, pool
no. Yeah, you can tell as soon as you jump in about the pool.
Easy. What about here I am sipping coffee. I know how terrible that is for my teeth. What sort of good behaviors do you exhibit in your daily life? Are you like a straw drinker all the time? What
good behavior? As far as like with my teeth and stuff?
Yeah, are you practicing what you preach over there? Are you
I mean, I don't
judging all these other teeth.
No,
I'm not lost all your teammates.
No, I'm not judging, and I'm not a dentist yet, but it's still something. I'm in the same position as you guys right now. So, but I don't drink coffee. I just have never drank coffee my whole life. It's just, I've always stayed away from it.
I get annoyed when people get a PhD and insist on being called doctor, or even get an honorary degree and someone be called doctor. Are we gonna be calling you Dr. Smith in 10 years? Is that how you would like to be known?
I would like to be known as Julian Smith.
Right up.
There you go. Throwing shade, Luke.
Yeah. No, I would like to be known as Julian Smith, but I would also like to be known as a dentist, Julian Smith. So
how many times have you gotten the Dr. J joke though?
All the time. Our strength coach actually calls me Dr. J or Doc. Like my weight sheet, the name is Doc. So that's kind of fun. Yeah.
That's kind of fun. Do you ever mock him and like come in and wear Converse and high socks and?
No, I just I let it flow. I let it flow.
Do you think that if you were to change your mind, you could balance dentistry school and swimming? I mean, Jeremy Bagshaw did it for med school and made the Olympic team. I mean, it's hell, but is that even possible? Do people do that?
I think, I mean, of the people that I know lately, I know Derek Mass. He went to NYU med school and did like a year at NYU and then did med school. But I don't know if it'd be possible. I think because it's something like just like in swimming. Like if you're gonna go all in swimming, you need to go all in. So in dental school, I want to go all in and see, reach my goal of being a good dentist. So.
Besides that, like Derek Moss got a ton of hate for that too, by the way. Like everybody
really
was it D3 that he was in?
Oh, because
all these people are like, get out of here with your D1, like this is our territory, which is like so. I don't get it, but there are a lot of people who were pissed that he like came down and raced in that division and then was winning, and they're like, get out of here, guy.
I mean, I feel like he did it. Like the reason why he did it was very reasonable, and I feel like that's something that
100%.
I saw, and I was like, wow, that's really like cool. Like I wish I could do something like that with the fifth year or anything, but I don't have that. But
I mean, I guess it's a little different. Reminds me though when Anthony Irvin shows up to Masters meets when I'm swimming the 50 free, and I'm like, oh great, this guy's going 19-0 in the 50 free next to me.
Yeah. So I don't know fully what happened.
I think you can you should apply to McGill Dentistry School in Canada. Really good dentistry school.
Yeah.
You can be the star.
Yeah, I know. I've heard so much about these. Yeah, I've heard a lot about these Canadian schools with half our team being Canadian now.
That's right.
But it's kind of
doing all he can to recruit for the Redbirds, but
it's cheaper. Good school.
Not gonna happen. Yeah.
No, but seriously,
it's only selling points. Cheaper. Cheaper. It's a discount bin. Doesn't that sound good? Hey, I got this dentist. He only charges me $5 for an extraction. How's that sound, Julian?
It's not McDonald's. It's value for money. Okay, it's Chipotle.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought 2025 was the year that we're gonna stop saying Chipotle.
Chipotle.
It's just one of those words. It's like saying nuclear. Stop. Hey, so what happens? What is going to the pool look like for you when you're in dental school, and how do you, if you want to stay in shape? I'm curious what stays and what goes. Like, are you somebody who can show up to the pool and like knock out a workout by yourself and be intrinsically motivated and hit it? Like, I don't know. What do you like hate doing? And that's you're not gonna do anymore. Like for me, that's like short rest threshold 50s. Like not doing
Yeah.
it.
I
But
mean,
like
I
I might
don't.
still do some lactate stuff.
No, I honestly I have no clue like what I would do. Like it would just be strictly into try to maintain fitness. I think it wouldn't be in the sense of trying to reach a goal or do any other competitions. It would just be in the sense of like remaining
Oh,
fit
totally.
and like
No, but I
healthy.
mean
So
like if you're gonna go to the pool on your own, what do you like to do?
oh, I'm just swimming straight because
Hmm.
I think a lot like I feel like in my future, like I could see myself doing 2 to 3K like 3 times a week and getting
Mhm.
pretty good benefits from that.
Yeah.
So it would just be keeping my body moving and like mixing around strokes. It wouldn't be trying to go fast or anything. I think moving consistently would help me a lot. And I think it
Yeah.
helps a lot of people that are as they get older,
It's funny you say that because this week, I was like traveling and then I went for a run the other day and I kind of like tweaked something in the hamstring. So I've been swimming the last few days. And I had like a good swim workout with a group on Tuesday, a couple days ago. And then the last 2 days, I've just got in and knocked out 3K, almost all continuous, like a few stops, but getting it done in 40 minutes, just bang,
Yeah.
bang, bang yards. And like, I'm like, oh man, like, I'm a little bit trimmer. Like I've started to, lean out just a little bit from that bit because I just haven't been swimming that consistently. And I actually
Mhm.
think like a quick 45 minutes, 3K, that can really do a lot, and it's doesn't take that long.
Yeah. And I think that's like for me and for most swimmers, like when they're done, it's like we can easily just do that and
Yeah.
maintain good shape and get more out of it than us just walking around on the gym floor trying to figure out what to do. So I
Right.
think that's something that excites me. It's like I can just get in the water and swim relatively very short amount compared to what we're used to and
Yeah.
still maintain fitness. Now it will be hard trying to do it on my own, but I think
Yeah.
I think it's doable.
Well, here you go. Here's my secret set. 100 warm up, 2025's fly on 30, 50 no breath. Boom, then you're done. Heart rate's up, and there you go. When I'm like by myself or not in the mode or like in the mindset at all, that's what I do.
2025's butterfly is your go-to when you're not in the mood to swim. What?
Because I could not want to do it at all and not try it all. It's still hard. It still gets my heart rate up. It still challenges me, and it's done in like 10 minutes, right? So that's done in 10 minutes. So this whole practice takes 15 minutes.
Yeah, I like that too.
And it was when I was at 24 hours and that pool was like 85 degrees. So I'm like, all right, I got like 10 minutes of quality before I'm like dying of heat stroke here.
Wow.
Dude, I hate
so there you are. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Julian, what's the Florida NCAA team mindset this year going into NCs? You guys are known for certain things: your relays, your speed, your look who we are. Don't forget about us. What's your mindset this year?
I think our mindset this year hasn't changed. I think it's going to be the same. We're the Florida Gators, and we're still going to put up a fight, And I think that's something that we carry with pride, and it's like to be able to dive in with Florida Gators on your cap is something. It's a privilege, and it's something that we don't take for granted. So headed into championship season, I think our mindset is to show everyone that we've been working hard and to see the rewards of that. And we're Florida Gators, so not much is going to change,
What's one of the hardest training trip sets that kind of demonstrate how hard you guys were working over that time? Because it did look like that first dual meet, that 100 breast was a little slower than that 49.
Yeah.
As someone that knows, I was a horrible in-season swimmer, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's so many sets, but I think I can't even say what I've done compared to the distance group and what they do. The milers, 500 people, like whatever I say on here, they'd be like, that's not that hard, So their sets have been very crazy. I want to say last month there was a stretch where they did 3 practices in a row, and it was 9K, 10K, 9K. And that was like, it was like a double and then a single. So it wasn't in like over 48 hours. It was very close together. So I think it's just accumulation of a lot of yards, but also a lot of work. And you find yourself, and it really makes it easier for you to work at the end when you're in a race, because the race is the easy part. And I think that's the easiest part for me, is like knowing that every race I do is easier than any practice I've done. So
yeah.
I just think it's kind of funny that when it comes to distance swimming and sprinting, if you were to just like look at pure performance, a sprinter, and I know you've been in the mid group for a lot, so like your ability to jump around groups is unique. But for a lot of people who are like maybe a core sprinter, to be able to go and do that distance workout, but like not just to do it, but like to execute it at a high level, is the same difficulty as a distance swimmer coming to do the sprint workout and execute it at a high level. And yet we all look at the distance workout and go, that's the hard one. And then the distance swimmers look at the sprint workout and go, well, that's easy.
Yeah. But if they were to do it like as it should, it would be very different, you know?
Exactly. Like they may be able to do it and do it without like taxing their aerobic system that much, but they're also still going to get beat like crazy by the pure sprinters who are out there, like, you know, crushing it. So I think that kind of thing is kind of funny. You know, they always look at it and go, it's like, it is really hard if you do it the right way and are able to go that fast. So
yeah, perspective is definitely a big deal in swimming.
Yeah.
Are you a hard? Do you give it your all in every practice, or sometimes, to be honest, you're like, are you like one of those guys who just push yourself to the boundary every single time?
I do push myself in practice. I'm definitely a hard worker, but I think there comes with attention in practice. I think I'm very intentional in my practices because I'm not just going to swim. It's more so of a, what can I work on to be race relative, and that's going to help me in my race. And obviously there are those practices where I need to go foot on the gas all the way. But another big change this year is like, in a lot of these IM practices, it's like, how can I get through the water with good technique and maintain that technique even when I start to get tired? So that's been a big change for me, rather than just trying to survive and get through the practice, you know?
It's a weird way I'm going to pose this perhaps, but you are swimming with the best swimmers there's ever been on this planet. They're around you. So you're gaining a lot of positive. You're being lifted. You're being motivated by them. But I'm sure because you're trying to be intentional, there are times where you need not to do what they're doing. You need to do what's best for you, Julian Smith, perhaps, you know, not what's best for Josh next to you on that I said, or you look across the pool and you see, you know, the pros doing something different. Is there times when you realize, I just need to make sure I'm doing what's best for me at the same time these guys lift me? What's that like, that dynamic?
That's a really good question, but I think for me, I learned this all from them, and seeing all the pros and how intentional they are with what they have to do for practice. I learned that not every practice is just a matter of how fast can I get in a 50. But even seeing like Caeleb and the Josh, and they're very intentional with their sets and everything that they do. And something that I'm super bad at is counting my strokes, but Josh is super good at it. He knows how many kicks underwater he has off of every turn, how many strokes, and everything. And seeing that kind of forces you're like, you can't just be going around swimming and looking at the clock. You need to be intentional with your stroke and intentional with the turns and everything. So that's something that I learned from them more so than just me playing around.
Yeah, wow. I imagine there's just so many great learnings from being a sponge amongst that group, and hopefully you're there giving it back to everybody too, right? Like that's a role of being a senior person on the team. I wanted to ask you about some of the roots, because you kind of came from that with swimming under Martin Zabero right in high school, and having come from that experience, you've kind of been exposed to for a long time people who have had like lived experience at a high level. So it doesn't come as a shock that you're finding success after having had like exposure to a lot of high level success, that they can pass down those learnings, that knowledge to you, not just coaching tips, but also like lived experience, right? Between him and Nesty and, just others that have been in your life. So does it feel that way to you, that, you've kind of like had this sort of unique inside line to that successful kind of like mentorship type of perspective?
For sure. I know I wouldn't even be at UF if it weren't for Coach Ribeiro, because he was a big reason why I was even able to get in contact with UF and be able to, like he vouched for me to Coach Nesty and saying like, this guy has an opportunity to be really good. And I think I was with Coach Ribeiro from 6th grade on, and he really set a foundation for me in swimming that without that foundation, I don't think I'd be where I'm at today. So, and that's all because of what he's done in his past and everything that he's came from with UF, and I don't take that for granted, for sure. So it is cool to see, like, yes, I had an insight in a way, and like he wasn't telling me directly, oh, this is what we did at UF, and this is what you're going to be able to do and everything. But to see it after 4 years, I can really look back and appreciate it, because I see where it all came from and why we did what we did, and it's all paying off,
Yeah. Well, speaking of where you came from, so I have to say that my family used to vacation in St. Augustine every year for like 15 years. So, yeah, man, down in like Crescent Beach, and then going to town in St. Augustine. My parents are from Jacksonville, so I remember I went to this meet once that was a double distance meet at where you went to high school at Episcopal.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah. And my breaststroke career ended there.
That's funny.
So I did a double distance meet. So this was like, 800 IM, 400s of stroke, a 3000 freestyle. That sucked. But the one memory that that sticks in my head from that meet is that I forgot to tie my suit before I did the 400 breaststroke, which of course, like, I'm not hyped for a 400 breaststroke in October or whatever meet this was. This is dumb. I was probably 12, but I dove in, and then my suit falls down to my knees immediately. And I remember scrambling in the water, like, oh shit, like grab the suit, pull it up, and then keep swimming. And like, I don't know. I don't think that's ever happened to me since then, but not my best moment. I think that was enough to shake me in breaststroke, and I said, no more. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah. It will do it to you.
It crossed my mind because, you're in Florida, and there's a large Caribbean. I'm from the Caribbean. Large Caribbean swimmers swimming at bowls and all over the Caribbean go to Florida. So being a black swimmer in Florida is a little less. It's a little more common than anywhere else in the States. A little more common, not much more. But NCAA is when you're on deck. This is probably going to drop in Black History Month. What does it mean to you personally, being a black swimmer on deck with Nesty, who is a trailblazer? You've had assistant coaches like Leah Martindale in the past, and teammates. What's it like for you, personally?
For me personally, it's very cool and very inspiring, because I think it's growing up, I never really saw this. There were obviously the Davis twins. They kind of set the foundation here at UF, and like they were always some people that I really looked up to. Especially when I first got on campus, like I was just like a sponge listening to them and like really learning from them and their experience and everything. But to be able to now, and like we go to SECs and everything, and we see Josh and the Tennessee, everyone from Caribbean, like Jordan. It's just really cool, and I think we all bond over that, and it brings us all together. And I think now I can look back at it because bowls, they have a bunch of Caribbean boarders now, and I see them, and like I hear from them, and it's like I feel good because I feel like I'm inspiring in some sort of way, even though I might not be like the international superstar or anything, but to see that they can kind of see what we're doing, and everything in the NCAA, and then Josh and Jordan and what they do on the world stage is very cool to see. And it's something that I wish I had, but it's cool to see a sport like this continue to grow in that way.
100%. Well said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exciting for us to see too, dude. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's do some rapid fire. What's the hardest race in swimming?
For me, or just hardest race in swimming? Probably the 200 back.
Long course or short course?
Honestly, I've never done either, but I would say long course.
How's it the hardest?
Because I just know it's the hardest. No. Yeah, I know it's the hardest. So.
Nope, won't even try it.
Yeah.
All right. Olympic gold, world record, or NCAA record?
Definitely a world record and Olympic gold for sure. Or do I have to choose one?
Choose one.
Would I have to choose one? It would be Olympic gold.
One of them.
Olympic gold and any event. I feel like Olympic gold at any event's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
It could be an imaginary event.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the best race you've ever seen live?
Definitely all the races at trials this year. So probably Gretchen's 100 fly, and then at trials, and also Leon. Seeing Leon is pretty insane. And what he's done in the NCs the past 2 years.
Yeah, totally epic. What are you reading, watching, or listening to right now? Just anything that you're consuming outside of the pool.
What am I reading? I'm watching the college football playoff games.
And then game last night.
Yes, I did. That was a really good game. So I watch a bunch of sports, I would say. A bunch of football.
Yeah. Hopefully Miami doesn't get Carson Beck as a transfer quarterback. It seems like that's on the table right now.
Yeah, I did see that last night. But the Florida Gators will be really good next year. So.
Yeah, hell yeah. If you could only keep 3 apps on your phone, which apps are you keeping?
I'm going to keep messages for sure, Instagram, and my camera app.
Yeah, cool.
Wow. All right, a lot of overlap there, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, but
they're your choices.
Yeah. What would you choose?
Good question.
Yeah, I think no, I hate Instagram, so I'd get rid of that.
Okay.
Luke and John keep that. I think Chrome, Google Maps, and WhatsApp.
Okay. If we're talking in like, if I need to survive, yeah, that makes sense. I definitely need to keep Safari. So,
do you know that we've asked this question maybe, I don't know how many times, guys, 25 different athletes? Nobody's ever said a phone. Like, nobody wants to keep the actual phone app of making a phone call on a phone.
Well, you really know I hate calls.
Yeah, nobody said that. Nobody said I want to use a phone for phone.
No. Luke, how do we know you're old? That stands out to you.
No, but as I get older, for sure, I definitely do. I call people more now, and
you can do that through WhatsApp though, so you can do WhatsApp calls and messages.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
So you can WhatsApp's a good one because it's multi-purpose.
On Instagram.
So Brian wins.
Brian wins.
Brian wins.
I've had the ability to actually, I hadn't really thought about my choices until now, but I have had the advantage of listening to all of our guests and thinking about their choices. So, yeah, but I support you. You're right. You cannot survive on Instagram, but but you can look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
What's the hardest set that you've ever done?
Hardest set I've ever done. I honestly, I do such a bad job at remembering sets. I just know that they hurt. Hardest set I've ever done is probably an IM practice outside long course. I think it probably ended up being like 200 IMs, but that was probably my hardest set that I've ever done. And most times the hardest sets I do are the sets I don't do the best at. So that's
you fall apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good way to think about it. I don't think anyone's ever said that to us before, but that's so true. Like,
very true.
You know, if you're having a good time, it can be hard, but you like feel
But
the
you're
progression.
you're
like,
doing
get
good.
into the zone. But what sucks is when you're sucking.
Yeah, so that makes it a really hard one. So.
That's such a good point. All right, the last one is, how often are the Florida Gators doing social kick nowadays?
Never. We never did social kick.
Man.
Never.
I can't remember the last time we did social kick. I think maybe in warm down, and when we do our own personal warm down. But
that's all right. You don't have to make it up. Just to be nice.
Yeah. Not yet. Not yet. Maybe Josh and I can try to help with that.
You should.
Yeah, there you go. You're gonna be there much longer, but anything you can do on the way out, set the example. You know, it's like good to connect with your teammates in a leisurely way. So, dude, so much fun to watch you, watch your progression, watch what's happening in your career right now, but also so much respect for, you know, your life decisions and goals and where you want to take it. It's fun to, you know, be in conversation with somebody who's, you know, got a plan and you're confident in yourself, and that's showing through in your swimming and the way that you talk. So thanks for sharing some time with us, man. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me. I definitely learned a lot from seeing you guys' podcasts and everything. So keep doing everything that you guys are doing. It's very good for the sport, and just stay the course, like my dad always tells me.
Thanks, man. Yeah, thanks, man. Good advice from Pops. All right, that's it for this episode of Social Kick. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you enjoyed this episode of Social Kick and you'd like to see more, subscribe to the channel. And we love talking swimming. We'd love to talk about swimming with you. So leave us a comment, and we'll see you next time.